Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Reads, where we give you 5 book recommendations all in one show. My name's Devon. I'm a librarian at the Worcester Public Library, just like my co-host Joy. Have you recovered from Thanksgiving yet, Joy?
Nowhere close. Too much food.
I agree. I woke up full this morning. So
yeah, me too.
Okay, well, most everything Joy and I are talking about today, you can find online through your Overdrive or Libby app for free. You can also use Overdrive on your browser with your laptop or desktop. And don't forget, we're doing physical pickup of items now. So if you want a print copy or a book on CD, you can call ahead or order online and we'll let you know when that's ready. If you're not sure how to do any of that, just call the library and we'll help you out. So now I'm going to switch screens so you can see what we have lined up for you this week. All right, as usual, I will be covering the fiction, Joy will do the nonfiction, and we have our coming soon title. So for my first choice, I have House on Endless Waters by Amuna Ilan. This book came out in January of 2020, about 1 year ago. It's described as part family mystery, part wartime drama, and essential Jewish fiction. That's the author there on the right-hand side. In the book, at the request of his agent, author Yoel Bloom agrees to promote his book in Amsterdam, despite promising his late mother he would never go back there. While touring the Jewish Historical Museum, he stumbles upon a clip of pre-war Dutch Jewry and is surprised to see his mother staring back at him, posing with his father, his older sister, and a baby he doesn't recognize. This discovery leads him to search for the truth, examining Amsterdam's wartime history, the underground networks that hid Jewish children from danger, and those who betrayed their own to survive. The more Yoel digs into the past, the better he understands his mother, and the more he wonders, who am I? This immersive book brings to life stories that should never be forgotten. And the book got a starred review from Kirkus. Author Rachel Kaddish said, "This is an elegant, eloquent novel, a story where time and language melt to reveal truths that could be told in no other way." So this book sounds like the writing is fantastic. And it does have the dual timeline aspect where the author is working in Amsterdam trying to uncover his history, and then it flashes back to the mother, Sonia, and her experiences during wartime Amsterdam. So if you're interested, we have this one in print and as an ebook. And here's one from Joy.
Well, my first choice for this week is Milltown, A Reckoning of What Remains by Carrie Arsenault, which has been named one of the best books of the year 2020 by PW. I had intended to talk about Trial by Fire, an account of the deadly 2003 conflagration that took place in Warwick, Rhode Island, and took the lives of over 100 victims, including several from Worcester County. So in the interest of local interest, I do want to mention it. However, the fire itself, to say nothing of the ugly litigation that followed in its wake over a period of 15 years, makes for really depressing reading. So, Thanksgiving weekend, I chose another book set in a New England milieu, Carrie Arsenault's Milltown, instead. When Carrie Arsenault was a little girl growing up in the close-knit community of Mexico, Maine, almost all of the men and some women worked at the local paper mill that dominated the economy and the social life of the town. It was a good place to grow up, surrounded by extended family and provided with all of the amenities that a working class family could reasonably expect. Sure, the mill emitted some really awful smells from time to time, but as Carrie's father said, that's money you're smelling. Sure, some studies seemed to show that the chemicals that were an integral part of the manufacturing process were making people sick in disproportionate numbers. But other scientists, many employed by the paper mill, denied the allegations, maintaining that there was no proven connection between cancer and exposure to toxics from the mill. So it was easiest to ignore the warning signs as long as the money was good. Ironically, over the years, the overall health of town residents may have improved because many of the mills, in the face of declining markets and international competition, have closed. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that the choice between gainful employment and good health is no choice at all. But Arsenault claims that that is what many working class people in Mexico, Maine, and throughout the world face daily. Does a thriving economy really necessitate the sacrifice of precious human lives? And how important is this question now in the face of COVID-19? So yes, Milltown is an indictment and a call to arms, but it is not unremittingly bleak. Arsenault melds tales of family members, genealogy, town history, political controversy, descriptions of a Maine landscape and climate, French-Canadian culture, and meditation on what it means to be home into a loving, tender, and compassionate portrait of a community at risk. And I guess that's the mill, right, Devin?
Yeah, I found that shot on a book review, and I have to say my dad did work in a paper mill up in Maine for a very short while. He could not stand the smell.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. All right, so here is my next choice. Deacon King Kong. I've been wanting to read this, and after reading more, it's like moved up more on my to-read list. So this book came out in March of this year, 2020. When the book came out, it was a best book of the month on Amazon. It's an Oprah book club pick, as you can see, and it got on notable book lists with both the Washington Post and the New York Times. And of course, that's the author, James McBride, on the right. This is an historical fiction set in 1969, and it starts with a church deacon known as Sportcoat, who goes into the courtyard of a housing project in Brooklyn, pulls out a gun, and in front of everybody, shoots a teenage drug dealer. The reasons for this violence and the consequences that come from it lie at the heart of this novel. McBride brings to life everyone affected by the shooting: the victim, who loses an ear, African American and Latinx witnesses, white neighbors, big-hearted cops, members of the church where Sportcoat was deacon, mobsters with wartime plunder, and Sportcoat himself. Told with insight and wit, McBride shows not all secrets are meant to be hidden, and that facing change helps you grow, and that love grows with compassion. The Amazon review for this book said McBride has written a comic neighborhood epic set in the 60s with a cast of characters that are beguiling, booze-filled, and larger than life. As Sportcoat dodges the police, his actions ricochet around him, igniting drug wars, dealings with mobsters, and church brawls. This is an incredibly satisfying read. I just love the descriptions of the characters in this book. The fact that there's big-hearted cops, mobsters with wartime plunder, and brawls at churches. I mean, how could you not want to try this book? If you are interested, though, there are wait lists. So now's the time to get your name on that wait list to get yourself a copy. And here's another from Joy.
I've never brawled in church, but I guess there's always a first time.
It seems so.
My next choice for this week is The Loneliness of a Long-Distance Cartoonist by Adrian Tomina. Now, I want to say that one of sort of the ongoing gags in this book is the fact that most people that Adrian meets at, I don't know, readings, community events, really mangle his name, and they don't wait for him to correct the pronunciation. So I'm being as careful as I can. So this is The Loneliness of a Long-Distance Cartoonist by Adrian Tomina. Adrian Tomina was a geeky, insecure kid obsessed with reading and drawing comics. He grew up to be a geeky, insecure adult who was still reading and writing comics. And I am glad he is, because Adrian Tomina is one of my favorite graphic novelists, known for works including 32 Stories, Killing and Dying, Summer Blonde, and Scenes from an Impending Marriage, all published by my favorite publisher of graphic novels, Drawn and Quarterly, and all of which are owned by the Worcester Public Library. Just saying. His latest, The Loneliness of a Long-Distance Cartoonist, is included on the Best of 2020 list from Publishers Weekly and on the list of 100 notable books from the New York Times. In all of his work, Tomina focuses on the joys, challenges, and anxieties that are an integral part of modern life. In this autobiographical work, he chronicles his often fraught relationship within the insular and not always glamorous world of the graphic novel publishing. There are book signings in which no one shows up, book signings in which he is mistaken for other better-known cartoonists like Neil Gaiman, an agonizing interview with NPR's Terry Gross, petty criticism from other artists, hurtful conversations overheard in coffee shops, weird stalkers, petty jealousies, paralyzing shyness, interminable after parties, oversized egos, and yes, the aforementioned loneliness. But there is also Sarah, Tomina's long-suffering wife, and his two small daughters, who often took a back seat to his first love, comics. Now, I won't say that at certain points in this book, I just wanted to shake Tomina and say, will you stop whining and appreciate what you have? But I didn't have to do that because Tomina got there first. In 2015, he experienced a health scare that shook him to the core and forced him to reevaluate his values and priorities. Obviously, Tomina is still making art, or this book would not exist. And my guess is that he is still pretty geeky and pretty insecure. He may, however, be a little bit less obsessed and more open to a world outside of drawing comics.
I have to say, I love it when graphic novelists publish on that paper that simulates notebook paper. I think that's really fun.
It's a very cool book, and he's a great artist.
Sounds it.
Yeah.
All right, so our coming soon titles on the next slide, but before I change over, don't forget to give us some likes and loves and share this video with your friends who love reading. All right, coming soon. It's another book by my favorite romance author. So this is Such a Queen. It is the first book in the new trilogy by Alyssa Cole. The new trilogy is called The Runaway Royals, and this comes out on December 1st, which is, of course, a Tuesday. It's a best book of 2020, according to Publishers Weekly, and they said that this is a strikingly feminist saga that raises the bar for contemporary romance. And of course, that is Alyssa on the right. In the book, former farm girl Shanti weds the king of Ingaza, becoming a queen, but it's nothing like she imagined. Her subjects think she's an outsider, and trying to be a perfect wife goes disastrously wrong. Meanwhile, a king must rule with an iron fist, and newly crowned King Sanyu was born for this, even though it fills him with anxiety. Though he agrees to marry, he doesn't expect to fall in love. Even more troubling, his new queen has the answers to his country's problems, but no one will listen to her. When turmoil erupts in their marriage and their kingdom, Shanti bolts, and Sanyu must learn whether he can lead his people and catch his queen. This book got starred reviews from Library Journal and Booklist. Booklist said Cole's majestic new Runaway Royals series spins off from her excellent Reluctant Royals trilogy, adding more depth. Her contemporary romances shine with unique settings and brilliantly complex characters. That's really the thing I love about her books. The characters are complex, they're fun, they're witty, there's always really great conversation, and everyone who watches the show knows how much I love character development. So if you're ready to give romances a try, you should definitely check out Alyssa Cole.
Oh, I might.
You really should.
Only her. She sounds intriguing.
She really is. And that brings us to the end of our episode for this week. Don't forget that if you're looking for a book recommendation, you can just put that in the comments below and Joy and I will dazzle you with all of our suggestions. Otherwise, thanks for watching.
See you later, fellow readers.